Welcome back to another kind of episode here of the Stellar Classroom. Today, I kind of wanted to go over just a little bit, grand overview of what makes Stellar Health Awakening different as a health and wellness coaching practice, how we differ than other health and wellness coaches or nutrition coaching or even doctors. You know, there's so much out there, and a lot of it is the same, more or less, just a different face, a different name. And we do things differently at Stellar Health Awakening. So just kind of want to give a grand overview of that. First and foremost, I'm a functional diagnostic practitioner. That's what the P stands for. What does that mean? Well, functional diagnostic nutrition allows me, being a practitioner with them, allows me to facilitate functional labs. So this is something that's really cool because you may work with another health coach or a nutrition coach or a wellness coach, whatever it might be, and they're just going to give generic, maybe run-of-the-mill coaching, or they might have some deeper education, but the one thing that they probably cannot do for you is run labs. And the reason for this is most labs, you have to be a licensed physician to get those labs, right? Or a functional doctor or something like that. But as an FDNP, we are also allowed to get those labs, and we're one of the only wellness coaches, health coaches, practitioners out there that can do that, right? And this can create just a streamlined way of getting coaching, because you might work with a health coach or something like that that actually knows how to interpret some of those labs, but they can't get them. And so you have to go to your doctor, try to petition them to get you a GI map or one of these labs, only to be told like no or whatever, and it creates a headache. Right? And so we can get these labs, again, labs like the GI map, like I said, so we can get unique insight to your microbiome, gut permeability testing, so your intestinal permeability, your mucosal barrier health, liver detox pathway health, stress and hormone pathway. The list goes on of the tests that we can get for you. And then more importantly, as an FDN, they taught us how to interpret those labs in a holistic sense. Right? So like for a doctor, for example, will look at a test result and be very reductionist. They'll just like look at one number and just be like, well, we got to optimize this number. And as an FDN, we are taught how to look at those results, layer them onto your lived life experience, and get more of an explanation of the why behind your symptoms and why you're feeling the way you are, not just that you present with them. Right? So that's something that's really, really cool as an FDN, that it just streamlines the whole process. And again, a lot of people ask about this, like, well, again, like I said, is this just the run-of-the-mill blood labs? No, I already went over some of the tests that we're doing. A blood lab that you get from a doctor is just a test to kind of just let you know you have a symptom. Like that's all it is. It does not give any insight to the why. The tests we run and that we interpret give us a deeper understanding of why you have the symptoms you have and why you're feeling the way you do. And again, from there too, again, we get taught kind of how to layer on those results onto your lived life experience, like I said. And the cool thing about that then is the protocols we build out, the healing protocols, are all about healing the body, calming the mind, and kind of aligning the soul, right? So we get these test results back, we sit down, we talk about your lived life experience. We have intake forms that give us insight to your lifestyle, your history, your symptoms, and then we build out kind of a really big picture, an avatar of who you are and why maybe you're experiencing what you're experiencing. And then your protocol becomes one where it's like, okay, based off of the data and then based off of your life and everything you've told us about your life experience and everything like that, here is the protocol to help heal your body, right? We're working on things like your diet, we're working on things like your sleep, we're working on things like your exercise, your lifestyle, your habits, and supplementation protocols. Right? That's the body. And you can kind of think about it like that's the base of the pyramid. But then we're also going to work on things for the mind, because here's the deal. Most practitioners out there, health and wellness gurus, the Andrew Hubermans of the world, etc., they all stay in this lane. They're all about the body, which is great. But to heal, we know the body works as a system in line with the mind and in line with kind of the spirit, the soul, something like that. And so if we're only taking care of the body, we're only taking care of like 1/3 of what makes us healthy. Because if you're killing it in the gym, killing it with your diet, but your mind is just a madhouse, right? You feel sad or melancholy, or maybe you have anxiety, or you're always worrying, etc. What good is it that you have a six-pack or whatever it is, right? We also got to take care of the mind, right? So working with the nervous system, working with practices and lifestyle habits to help bring centeredness and bring calmness and other things like that. Maybe even, again, outsourcing to a therapist. That's what I have done during my healing protocol, and it's been immense, right? So it's more than just the body and the mind. And then the soul, some people can, see that and kind of roll their eyes and go, here we go, woo-woo stuff. Listen, this is not religious. This is not anything like we're going to align to the 11th element and like go to the next dimension. None of that, guys, none of that. It's more just like, there's a big movement right now in the longevity field, like the Brian Johnsons of the world who like want to live forever, right? They want to live longer, but it's like for just the sake of living longer. And I don't know if that's because it's a fear of death, or some of them say they want to be around for the AI revolution, which is crazy to me. But we live by a philosophy at Stellar Health Awakening where it's live longer, better. What's the point of living longer if you're not really enjoying your life, if you're not grateful, if you're not trying to help others, if you don't feel present, if you don't feel abundance and love for others? And again, some people might roll their eyes and think that's trite, but it's true. It's like, why would I want to live longer if I don't love my life? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me other than I'm just afraid of dying. So we also want to do things to help align the soul. Now, what does that look like? Guys, there's just like maybe some reading material around like ancient philosophy, or working to come up with a guiding principle for your life. Maybe having a gratitude journaling practice or some meditation. This is not we're not asking for anything crazy here. We're not doing any woo-woo stuff. I'm not going to have you rub crystals on your nipples. Okay, that's not what this is. All right, but it is cool how when you start to do these things, it links back into the mind, of course, and then that links back into the body. What you'll find is if you're just focusing on one of these areas, you're getting better and you are healing something, but it's not all of it. We got to make it all inclusive. Body, mind, and soul, the pyramid here, okay? And that's what our protocols do. A lot of it starts here in the body, because this is the thing that in our day and age, a lot of people need the most work on because of the world we live in. But we will get into these things as well with your protocols, okay? And again, that's something that's unique to us. Most coaches out there, practitioners, just kind of focus on the physiological stuff. Here's your macros, here's your exercise routine, go kill it. And then you're killing it in the gym and you're always getting in fights with your spouse and your kids. Not great, okay? And because of all of this, it's unique. The protocol that we come up with, the coaching that we give you is unique to you. Now, we do have some overriding principles that are going to be the same for everybody, like no processed foods, or very low amount of processed foods, right? 90 days, no alcohol. Like, there are certain principles we're going to ask everybody to stick to, but once we get your individualized test results and you have your own individualized lived life experience, the protocol has to be unique to you. If we just give generic protocols to everybody, it doesn't make any sense. You have unique genetics. You have a unique life experience. For me, for example, I presented when I went through this with some PTSD symptoms, some trauma that I've been holding on to. Well, that trauma, that can be mind and soul, was affecting my nervous system. And that effect of my nervous system was affecting my hormones. So my protocol had to include something like therapy or like trauma therapy. Otherwise, I could take all of the supplements, do all of the float tanks and all of the woo-woo stuff to try to heal my nervous system, and it wouldn't fully heal because I'm not taking care of the root problem of some trauma, right? So I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm just saying that was what was unique to me. So, right? So unique. So this is kind of what makes Stellar Health Awakening different, right? As an FDN practitioner, we are able to facilitate functional lab testing, and that functional lab testing is far more in-depth than any of the testing you're going to get from a doctor, and it's going to make it a streamlined process to where if you were working with another functional coach or health coach, you might have to go to a third party to try to get these labs. Don't have to do that. So one-stop shop as an FDN. Protocol is going to include body, mind, and soul. We're going to have that pyramid of health. We're going to work on all these areas, not just the body. We're going to live longer, but also better. And then with all that, you're going to have a 100% unique protocol for you when you start working with us. Okay? So that's what makes us different. Now, what does it actually look like to work with us? You're like, Sean, this sounds great. I want to work with you. How do we do that? Well, let's flip it around here. Let's talk about the path here. I thought I recorded this video, guys, and the video was off. So that's why everything's already written up, but makes things easier. Okay, so what does coaching look like? What's the timeline look like? So first and foremost is going to be an onboarding call. Now, the onboarding call is for us to meet with each other and learn if we're going to be a good fit. Even if you're a member in my gym and I know you pretty well, I still want to sit down with you and get insight into like, why are you thinking you want to do this coaching? What are your symptoms looking like? What's your health currently looking like? And then, if I'm being completely honest, I want to make sure we're going to be a good fit not only do I want to make sure I'm going to be a good coach for you, but if I'm being honest, I want to make sure you're going to be a good client for me. This is really intensive coaching. This is very hands-on, and it's going to take a high level of commitment from you, the client. So through this onboarding call, if I'm getting the sense that somebody's not going to be fully committed to this, I'm probably not going to take them on as a client. This is a very much like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink scenario, right? Kind of coaching where it's like, I can give you all the protocols. I can give you the diet, I can give you the exercise, I can give you the supplements to take, I can give you the books to read, but if you do half of them and then you come to the end of your protocol and you're like, Sean, I don't feel that much better, whose fault is that, right? Like, sorry, I gave you everything, but it's on you. And so I need clients who are going to be committed to this. And so that's kind of the point of the onboarding call. Now, everything goes well during the onboarding call. We get to the end of the onboarding call. We're a good fit. I'm going to tell you the price. And if we're good, you're hired. You're hired as a member. I'm not hired as your coach. You're hired as my client, okay? From there, I'm going to get some info from you. I'm going to send you a payment link to pay for the tests. Again, you're going to pay for the tests, but then you're going to give me your address, and I'm going to order those tests for you, and they're going to be drop shipped to you. So they're going to be shipped to you. Once you do the test, though, I'm going to be the one who gets the results, okay? So that's after the onboarding. You're going to pay for just the tests, not the coaching yet, which I'll go over, and I'm going to send you the tests, okay? Now, during that time that we're waiting for the tests to come in and all that, you're going to fill out some intake forms for me. So I'm going to email you some intake forms. This is going to be a lifestyle and history, kind of medical history background. It gives us really deep insight to your background and maybe some deeper why behind some of the symptoms you're feeling. And then also kind of like a symptom checklist. And that's going to give us deeper insight. You're going to send that back to me as soon as you have it done, ideally before we get the test results so I can look over them and kind of just start to build some insight. Tests are ordered. You take them, you do them, you send them back, we wait for the results. So during this whole kind of first month, I actually call it month 0 because there's no real in-depth coaching that can go on yet. We don't have test results. We can't do much testing yet because coaching yet because we don't have those test results. However, there are principles, like I alluded to, that everybody will be doing no matter what your test results look like. And so that first month or that month 0 is all about just habit formation, trying to implement some of the principles, like again, no to very low processed foods, consistent sleep and wake times. Like there are some principles, right? That'll be that whole first month. Now, once I get your test results back, we're going to schedule a results and recommendation session. This is our session to talk about your test results and for me to also give you your first healing protocol. At this point, coaching begins. You're now paying for the coaching, right? So the only thing you've paid for at this point is your tests. Once we schedule the R&R session, along with that will be a payment link to pay for coaching, and we're off to the races, okay? So during this R&R session, like I said, we're going to go over your results, and we're going to get deep insight. I'm going to educate you, explain like why things are coming up the way they are, what we're looking at, etc. And at the end of that, I'm going to give you your protocol, okay? And that's going to be a 90-day healing protocol. Why 90 days? It takes at least 90 days to just see some movement. Let's not get this twisted. You are not going to be healed in 90 days, right? Especially if you're coming to me and you've been feeling things for years on end, even decades. It's taken you years or decades to get to this place. To think it's going to get better in 90 days, like, it's just, right? It takes time to actually heal. Now, again, this is where some people go like, yeah, but like when I went to the doctor, they gave me this pill and I felt better. There is symptom suppression and there is root cause healing. When you go to a doctor and you get pharmaceuticals or anything like that, that is symptom suppression. Root cause healing takes time. It took you a long time to fuck up the root. It's going to take a while to heal the root, okay? But the reason we do every 90 days is because at 90 days, that's a good time to retest some of the tests. We're not going to retest all of them at the same time. And there's about 5 foundational tests. We're going to retest some of them to make sure we're on the right track, make sure we make changes as needed, right? So that first 90-day protocol, along the way of that 90-day protocol, we'll be meeting every single week. You'll be checking in with me. We'll be making changes. I want to make sure you're feeling good. Like all of this stuff, like every single week. Again, this is very hands-on. Now, when you sign up for coaching, you're either going to sign up for a 6-month contract or a 12-month contract. And again, the reason for this is at a minimum, it's going to take about 6 months, depending on what you're presenting with. to really start to feel the healing effects of these protocols, right? So we go through kind of 2 90-day protocols, and depending on who you are, and again, how intense you're presenting with symptoms and whatever it is, it might be more like 12 months, and so committing to a 12-month contract makes more sense. Now, no matter what you commit to, you can go to month after you finish. So let's say you finish your 6-month contract, you don't want to necessarily sign another contract, but you want me as your coach. You can go month to month. It will be less hands-on, right? But I'll still be able to write your workouts for you, give you diet suggestions, etc. And we'll check in once a month here instead of every single week, okay? Or you can just be done. You finish your 6 month or your 12 months, you feel great, we do your test results, everything comes back pretty much clean. You want to be done? Cool. The cool thing about this though is even if you finish a 6 or a 12 month and stuff comes back really good, we can go deeper than just trying to heal. If everything comes back pretty normal, and let's say you want to now optimize, you want to get healthier mitochondria, or you want to increase your performance in the gym, or the list goes on. You want to get deeper insight to your genetics. You have an MTHFR gene, and we want to work through that. You have a genetic disposition to Alzheimer's, or the list goes on. We can now start working in those realms, even more specific to you, the individual, right? So the first part of this is healing. And then the second part would be, if you want to go on from there, would be more of the like longevity optimization route. Again, I'm writing your workouts, I am writing your diets, your lifestyle, your habits, all that kind of stuff. So even if you feel healed, I can still be available to you for that if you'd like. Or you don't have to. Once you finish a contract, you're done, okay? So that's kind of the timeline in a nutshell. We go through our onboarding call. Congratulations, you're hired as a client. You're going to send me your intake forms. I'm going to send you a payment link and going to get the tests ordered. They're going to be drop shipped to you. You're going to do those tests. You're going to send them back to the lab. We're going to wait for those test results to come in. During the time we're waiting for the test results to come in, you're going to do the principles month. So you're just going to start working on principles of habits around, again, lifestyle, diet, rest, all the stuff. When your labs do come back, we're going to schedule an R&R session. This is when coaching officially starts. You're going to pay for either the 6-month or the 12-month contract. You can pay all up front, or you can pay month to month, up to you. At the end of our R&R session, I'm going to give you your first 90-day protocol. For the next 3 months, you're going to follow that 90-day protocol to a T. We're going to be meeting every single week. We're going to be fine-tuning it along the way. You're going to be telling me how you feel, etc. At the end of 90 days, we're going to retest some of the tests. You're going to redo one of the intake forms, which is going to be that the symptoms intake form. We're going to hopefully see a reduction in some of the symptoms, and then that'll give us insight probably which tests we want to retest. Once we retest, that will give us deeper insight to then how we need to change or adapt the protocol for the next 90 days, right? And you can kind of see how it goes. After those 90 days, we'll retest, right? And again, if after the 6 months is up, you want to re-sign another 6-month contract, or you want to go month to month or whatever, you can. If you're done, etc. Right? So pretty streamlined here. So if this is something that interests you, if you want to work with me, please reach out, follow us on Instagram, send me a DM, comment, like, subscribe. We'd love to work with you, and let's schedule an onboarding call.